Welcome, my loves, and in today's video we're going to talk about the single most fundamental and foundational step to eternal wealth, which means to collapse the false inorganic matrix from within. As you become the polymath or the Renaissance woman, you become the master of all embodiments. And I don't really like the word Renaissance woman because it immediately takes me back to France in the 1700s, and I'm like, I don't want to go there. But you know what I'm saying, right? You're the master of all embodiments, and that's what this channel is about: becoming the embodied empress, which means she is the shamani, she is the priestess, she's the superior creatrix, she's the eternal mother, she's the wife, she's the concubine, she's the warrioress, she's all of it. She's all archetypes embodied. That is power. So what we'll talk about today is the creation of eternal wealth and the foundational steps to it. What I mean by eternal wealth is true wealth, meaning I am creating a life of bliss. Work doesn't exist in my life, or the word or the concept itself is absolutely non-existent in my life anymore, because what I do is so natural, right? Financials are created in sovereignty, meaning it's passive income. I can decide whatever I want to do. If I want to do more of what I love, great. But if I decide to just take a day off or take a week off or take a year off and immerse myself in other projects, financials are still flowing. That's true wealth. True wealth is to be able to create generational wealth, to be able to give land to my children, to pass on belief systems to my children, to transmit a certain culture or a way of living to my children, create a hive mind for my family, plus create financial wealth that will carry the next generations. So when we talk about eternal wealth, that's the kind of wealth I'm speaking about. Whether that's something that is already in your consciousness and something you already are creating, or whether this is the first time you've ever heard this, you will be a millionaire in 10 years from now. And some of you might be like, no, I'm already a millionaire, or no, this is 2024, or this is going to happen next year. It doesn't matter. For some of you, you might think, I will never generate this amount of money in this lifetime. It doesn't matter. Let's go with the worst case scenario. You've never looked within. There was never any introspection. This is the first time you're hearing about this. Let's go with that. Even in that worst case scenario, if you start today, you will be a millionaire in 10 years. That means in 11 years, through compound effect, because what created the first million will create the second million, because this is not a quick fix. We're actually working towards life purpose stuff. So if that life purpose is creating a million in 10 years, in 11 years, it will create 2 million. In 12 years, it will create 4 million. In 13 years, it will create 8 million. In 14 years, it will create 16 million. In 15 years, it will have created 32 million. That's not unrealistic, right? This is the compound effect. That's how it works. So even again, if this is worst case scenario, this is the first time you're hearing about the concept of generational wealth. This is the first time you're actually allowing that to penetrate you. You have no skill set, right? Nothing. Even in that worst case scenario, you will be a deca millionaire in 15 years from now. Like, let that sink in for a second. Does that shift the way you view reality? Does that shift your creative thinking? Does that shift the way you perceive life and your impact on it? If we didn't look for a quick fix, right? If we didn't look for instant gratification, if we didn't look for a quick way to heal, or a quick way to get rich, or a quick way to overcome something, but if we looked at things in a more long-term perspective, 20-year game plan, 30-year game plan, how would that shift the way we perceive life? And I would argue that it would take a big weight off your shoulder I would argue that it would propel you towards your purpose. I would argue that it would make the quality of everything you're doing much more refined. I'd argue that this would make you a much happier person. We've all been programmed to think in immediate output and to not even think about the next 10 years, 20 years, or 50 years. And that can be a big downfall, because this is where a lot of us are stuck in procrastination. We think in these 1 year jumps, and we completely overestimate or get overwhelmed with what's possible in 1 year, and we totally underestimate the power of 10 years. That's why long-term thinkers are a menace to our old world society. Paradigm shifters and wealth creators are dangerous to the false matrix, because once you remove yourself from this like short-term thinking or quick fix, and you rather think in legacy and long-term wealth, you will stay consistent. You will build compound interests in your actions, and that will actually get you somewhere. So what I believe to be the most foundational step to eternal wealth is understanding the system that made you, which means understanding the impact of the inorganic matrix, what the matrix really is, and how to collapse it from within. The matrix in itself is neutral. It means mater, it means the womb. And it's very, very fitting, because the matrix is the container that raises us. It's the container in which we grow. So if we get practical with it, the matrix is an invisible set of conditions and belief systems that interlaces our reality. The matrix is an inorganic womb, a thought egregore or a psychic body, an invisible force that programs our life perception and our relationship with reality itself. It's an inorganic hive mind webbed into our society, into our governments, into our educational systems, healthcare systems, and workforce. And so it's not good nor is it bad, it's neutral. But this hive mind, this inorganic womb, shaped you for its benefit. And it's only bad if you don't have an awareness over it and the way it impacted you. And if you've never questioned it, you are running on autopilot. You are being a robot that benefits this false matrix. Now, who am I to say if that's bad or good? Maybe that was the robotic hive mind we needed to get to where we are. I don't know. Maybe we needed to be mentally enslaved to be productive like that, because the evolution wasn't there yet to have robots create this world for us, right? Maybe our workforce was needed. I don't know. That's quite neutral, but it's important to become aware of it. And at this point, fact is, it's not serving our highest evolution. It's not serving the divine blueprint of reality, because this inorganic matrix came with a certain set of belief systems that were programmed into our being. That's nothing that we ever learned with words, or that was never transmitted through words, but it was transmitted through actions and just frequency. And some of these belief systems, again, they are a block to our spiritual, our divine evolution. And that's what we're essentially here for. So life is hard is a very deeply ingrained belief system. Money is hard to make is another one. Now you can say on a mental level you don't believe that anymore, but there's a difference in rooted awakening or mental awakening. And unless you see the opposite playing out in every area of your life, some part of your body still believes that. That's why I go deep into my programs. That's why my programs are 9 months long, because we're really working on the bodily belief systems, on the somatic part of it. I don't care if mentally you're awake to that. It's about what your body believes. And so another one is life isn't sacred. Because if we witness everyone we love slaving away and working minimum wage and then basically working 40, 50 hours a week just to put food on the table, that doesn't transmit that life is the most sacred possession we have. We're also measured in output rather than beingness, which is another sign for us that our life isn't sacred, right? It doesn't matter who we are, who we're being. It only mattered what do we put out, right? Even in school, it didn't matter that this person just wasn't a mathematician, but they were a great writer. Or yeah, maybe this person sucks at physics, but they're immensely artistic, right? We were all judged equally. And I know everyone screams for equality. It depends on the context. So in the school system, equality wasn't necessarily helpful. So all of these things led to certain belief systems. Another big one is, for my survival, I will have to follow the rules. Right? This is very major in Germany and the German hive mind. Like, people will defend this invisible force with their life, and they don't even know what they're defending. That's why it's important to be aware, because if not, you become a robot. And I see that very much so in German people. They're great followers. And again, this can be very, very beautiful. This can be a great trait, or this can be a downfall. And I see people defending an invisible system without questioning what they're defending. I see this less so in the US, but in Germany, it's quite extreme. And another one is a deeply ingrained belief system that the false matrix caused, that fear is a good indication for decision making. And if I look back into my life, or if I look into my family lineage, every decision that they made was based on fear. It was either to escape something that could cause fear in the future, or it was induced by fear in the current moment. So these are things that are bodily responses. And on a mind level, we might understand that this is no longer how the paradigm works, but your body takes longer to really understand that. Again, that's the difference between mental awareness and a rooted awakening. And in this channel, we only care about rooted awakening. I mean, we care about both because one usually comes first, but unless it's rooted, it doesn't really mean much. Last week, I trained in capoeira, and one of the women, we spoke about me being from Germany, and she said something like, oh wow, I really don't get how people leave their country even though it provides free healthcare. And that comment was just so interesting to me, and I said something like, the illusion of safety isn't worth being imprisoned for the rest of my life, or being imprisoned in the matrix. And I used the word matrix, which I usually wouldn't do. And someone just came in and was like, oh damn, Andrew Tate escaping the matrix. And it was just so interesting for me. It's beautiful that the word is out there, but if we leave it at the superficial understanding, it doesn't really have an impact on us. And so there's a lot of conversation about the matrix, and the movie itself opened up the awareness, but for most people, it is simply a mental, superficial awareness of it. And a lot of people connect it only to, escaping the 9-to-5 system and becoming an entrepreneur, when yes, this can be a part of it, but also that is quite superficial. And I actually want to quote Elon Musk here because it just hits it home. And whatever you think of him doesn't matter. He's a paradigm shifter. He said, what if I told you that the only way to escape the matrix is to unlearn everything that you have been taught and rebuild your entire belief system based on critical thought and analysis? So if we take that as an example, you may start your entrepreneur journey, but if you haven't collapsed the matrix within, you might still be governed by the impact of it. Right now, you take the 8-hour workday into your own entrepreneurship. Now you take maybe a 10K limit a month into your own entrepreneurship. So if you still do something that you don't love to do, if you still work more than 8 hours a day, if you still don't make more than 10K a month, you're basically still running the program of the matrix. So it's about finding the deeply ingrained belief systems that were programmed by the inorganic matrix and collapse them from within. So the question for us is, how do we collapse the matrix from within? Because that's true inner alchemy. And we're moving from the inorganic matrix to an organic blueprint, the organic matrix, which is God's matrix. And in God's matrix, we are all creator beings. And I know a lot of people already use that word and use the term we are creator beings. And yes, divine creatorship is encoded in all of us, but most of us are inactive creator beings. And as we collapse the matrix within, we make the switch from inactive creator being back to the active creator being. Because fact is, even though we say, yeah, we create our own reality, for most of us, that isn't yet fully true. For most of us, what we see has been created for us, rather than us consciously choosing this reality and consciously creating it, even if you've awakened to some degrees of divine creatorship. There's always more. Right? I'm always pro potential, but be brutally honest with where you're at. That's evolution to me. Always assume the highest human potential, but be brutally honest with where you're at. Like that to me is growth. So what are the 4 qualities that will allow us to take the first step towards eternal wealth and allow us to collapse the matrix within? The first one is remove yourself from the known. And you know how to do this. That might look like changing your work paradigm and moving into entrepreneurship, right? This is the way you will uncover limiting belief systems around money. If you consistently stay in 9-to-5 jobs, you might not be confronted with limiting beliefs around financials. But once you move into entrepreneurship, it will confront you with everything. So it is a really beautiful way to collapse the matrix. Also, literally remove yourself from the known. I had to leave my country, my friends, my surroundings, my language, and I immersed myself into a whole new world. I moved to the US 5 years ago, and German is my mother tongue, so I started to speak in English. I immersed myself in a whole new world, which helped me to collapse like infinite belief systems. Like I died so many times in this process, and it was a lot on my system because everything was questioned, and that was good. That's not to say that you have to leave the country, right? Sometimes it's leaving your friend circle, right? If you have a friend circle, it's its own matrix, and usually you surround yourself with like-minded people, but that isn't serving you if these have been your friends for years and they are in a certain paradigm that you no longer want to be in. So if you look into your friend circle and they don't have the lives you desire, maybe remove yourself, right? Do your lone wolf thing for a little bit until you are more firm in your own frequency. Remove yourself from the known might also just be fast for a week. If usually you eat 3 times a day, how about you do a 7-day water fast? If you usually wake up at 9, how about you wake up at 5 and see how that goes for you? If you don't work out, how about you start working out? If you've never done yoga, how about you do yoga, right? If you've never done primal movements, how about capoeira or other things that allow for more primal movements and a new mind-muscle connection? So you know how to get creative with that and put yourself into new environments, like new routines, new habits. Just switch things up to see where you're at, right? Maybe you have to go hermit mode for a year and move to the middle of nowhere. I don't know. You know how to do this. I believe you could do this within the same city you live in if you're really creative and if you're really devoted. But that is the first step. Remove yourself from the known. The second step is question everything. And this sounds very common, right? People say that, question everything. But again, oftentimes it's just a saying. Do you really question everything? And this is also how you can decipher if someone belongs into your life or if they don't, right? Your good friends will absolutely adore you for that quality. Your good friends will see it as a sign of love. The wrong people in your life will be absolutely annoyed by that. Like, I see it in my reality. Because I got so used to question everything within myself, I do the same thing for others. So when I'm around other people and they say something and I don't know where that's coming from, or I don't know if that's serving them, or it's simply curiosity, I will ask, why did you just say that? Why do you think that? Why did you do that? That's just me, and it's really ingrained in me. So again, the right people see that as a really good quality. The wrong people see it as disrespect. For me, it's not disrespect. And I don't challenge them, but I challenge certain belief systems. And people who don't want to evolve, or they don't get that mindset, they will feel super annoyed by it or triggered by it. And honestly, my mom is a trooper, because when she visited me, I realized just how often I'm doing this. And it got to a point where I'm like, yo, okay, she's my mom. Let's just chill and have a good time. But I just saw so much robotic behavior, and it really, like, it made me so sad to see. So I really questioned everything, and it was a lot for her, but she's a trooper. And this is also a quality that the right man will value so much in you, because that's what makes you the oracle. So if you have a leader on your side, he will look for that exact quality within you, because you, as the empress, you are also the advisor. And you're not the advisor in a sense of, let me tell you what to do here, but simply question with curiosity. Why did you do it the way you do it? Why do you think that? Right? This really gets your man going, and the right man will love that quality because you are the oracle. So the right man will absolutely cherish this quality within you if it comes from an innocent and pure curiosity. But first and foremost, this is a quality that is for you and for yourself. So question, why did I just say that? Why did I just do what I did? Why do I believe that? Is that serving me? And all of these things, question everything and dissect your reality for a while. And at some point, this will run on autopilot. But in the beginning, this might be a conscious effort. You might have to remind yourself to question the things you're saying, the things you're doing, the things you're pursuing, your belief systems, your thoughts. The third quality, and the third vital step to collapse the matrix from within is to feel everything, at least in the context that we're speaking about right now. Feel everything. And what I mean by that is, feeling it is the difference between a mental awareness and a rude awakening. So like I said, right, a lot of people are mentally aware of the matrix, or they heard about the concept, but it's a very superficial understanding. That superficial understanding will not lead to transformation. But what will lead to transformation is to feel it, to feel the impact that this invisible force had on your life. And if you haven't grieved the impact of it, it means it hasn't moved from your mental through your root. Because once you really feel the impact that this inorganic force, the inorganic matrix had on you, your parents, your grandparents, and maybe your children, it is impossible not to feel grief. And grief is conflicting emotions. Grief might be immense anger. It might be devastation, sadness. It might be even missing it or longing for the old, right? It's all of these. But you will have to feel the grief of the life you've already lost, because that is the fuel for your new life. If you feel the gut-wrenching pain and the brutal honesty of the impact of it, that's what's going to propel you towards self-actualization. This is a true perception shift, but only if you felt it in your body. If it's a mental awareness, you still have an excuse to go back to something mediocre or go back to comfort. Once you felt the true impact, there is no way of going back to the old. No way. That's true change, and you owe it. You owe it to the old version of you that couldn't be aware. Now you have the choice of awareness. And sometimes it's I call it a protective hypnosis. It's like when you break up with this psychotic ex, or you're getting out of this toxic relationship, or even if we heal the connection with our parents, it's not that the moment we leave this relationship or the moment we left our parents' house, we became aware of all the pain and the toxicity that happened there. Sometimes it took us 6 months, a year, or even 10 years. And one day we wake up and we're like, fuck, that was painful. What the fuck happened there? And it's almost like life had us in this protective bubble because our nervous system wasn't ready to process all of it. That's quite similar to the Matrix. Like when you really feel into the impact that this had on your life and your parents' lives, and again, your generations before you, there's no way that your body doesn't have a deep reaction to it. And it can be quite overwhelming. So your body knows when it's time to feel into that. For a lot of people, 2020 and the years after were a gateway to actually feel into that, but a lot of people still haven't touched that grief. And it doesn't matter what anyone else does, your individual awakening matters to me. So be honest with yourself, and if you haven't felt the grief, there's something there to explore. Our fourth step is to eliminate artificial laws. The Matrix is basically a construct of artificial laws that we follow. So if we free ourselves from all of this, there's only God's law, divine laws. But now there are overlays. Let's say you live in a certain country. This certain country comes with certain laws. These are artificial laws placed on top of it. Then maybe you're part of a religion. The religious institution comes with certain artificial laws, like you cannot do this, or this is a sin, or you may not dress like this, or you may not engage in this. These are artificial laws placed on the divine laws. If you now live in a HOA, like a homeowners association, and you're only allowed to paint your house a certain color, there's another set of artificial laws that you're governed by. Then your workplace, where are you working? Another set of artificial laws placed on your reality, like you have to work 40 hours a week, or you have to work 5 days a week, only have 40 days of paid vacation. You can only make 5K a month no matter how much you work, right? Or no matter what you do. These are more artificial laws governing your reality. So collapsing the Matrix means freeing yourselves from all of these artificial laws and identifying these artificial laws. Well, that's not something that's going to happen in a day, in a week, or even in a year from now. That's why I like to look at it as it kind of takes 7 years to really see a difference in your reality. For some, it's a little faster. For some, it takes a little longer. But it takes 7 years for your body to completely rebuild and basically be a new version of you. The way I look at it is like this is how long it takes for that mental seed to become rooted and planted and really working in your reality on autopilot. So before I end this video, I want to leave you with a journaling question if you're interested in exploring it deeper. Even though our life is about enjoyment, being in the now, evolution, our life is also about problem solving. And the problems you are solving in your life give you a very good idea of where you're at. Because the Matrix functions kind of like an energetic caste system. And based on the problems that you're trying to solve, you'll find yourself in a specific caste system. So you can have problems like, where is the next rent coming from? Or how can I get a raise? Or how can I work towards retirement? These are a certain set of problems. They will give away your energetic caste system and where you find yourself in, or where you placed yourself within the Matrix. And then there's this different set of problems that kind of indicates a different caste system. How can I generate eternal and generational wealth? How can I create planetary systems that will assist healing? You see, there's a different frequency in them, and one feels more liberated and in accordance to the divine matrix, and the other one feels very limited. So ask yourself, what are the 5 problems in your life that you are finding solutions for? And then ask yourself, what caste system based on these questions have you put yourself in, or were you put in by the artificial matrix? If that was valuable for you, thank our rebirth container, because we're in our root module right now and we're taking a whole month to explore root healing and initiate true change in our rooting system of the body. And this was birthed by the container. So thank the women in there, thank the grid system that was created in there, and I'll see you next week, and I love you so much.